Howdy, and welcome to the Choose a Happy Day show, a podcast for women who want to up-level their life, manifest those dreams, and just live happier. If you have vision boards, love energy work, are into psychics, and feel you are meant for something more in this life, then this show is for you. Hi, I'm Lorraine, an award-winning filmmaker, author, Reiki master, photographer, and creative genius who also loves to vision board. And I am here to bring you all of the tips and tricks to help you up-level your life. Now let's go and hop on that happy train.
All right, so welcome back everyone to the Choose a Happy Day show. And today I have Melissa with B and Briar, and she is a shamanic practitioner and an intuitive.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to talk about all things shamanic, mediumship. So,
and this is our second time rescheduling because
you
first didn't want us to meet 2 weeks ago.
Right. The snowstorms, few car accidents, not ours, thankfully, but others on the Northway. So.
And that was the day a plane
landed on 87. Yes. So
we're here. And it's a new year. And I have a list of questions for Melissa. And it's our first time meeting. And you look just like your pictures.
Oh, thank you.
And for those listening, I would describe her as like this angelic, Irish, I don't know, just spiritual beauty.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Today I'm a blonde.
I like it.
I change every day.
Very fun.
Thank you. All right. So my first question was like, how did you even get into this spiritual practice?
So I began my road at about 8 years old.
Okay.
I saw my grandpa standing at the end of my bed, and he was see-through. See-through. He told me he died. I didn't know what death was. I didn't understand it. So I woke up my dad, because it was his father, and said, Grandpa's in my room, and he's see-through. Because I could see him. I didn't understand spirits. I didn't understand any of that stuff. And then he got the call that his father had passed away in the nursing home. Yeah. So then I slept on my parents' floor for like 2 weeks because I thought they would just turn through.
Oh, that's so sad.
You know, it's hard as a kid. But I grew up very Catholic, so there was nobody to really explain anything to me.
Yeah. And this was probably before the days of the movie I See Dead People, right?
Yeah, it wasn't talked about.
Okay.
Yeah. So that started it, and then just a lot of self-learning, self-journeying, learning from the spirit world is where most of my education has come from.
Wow.
Yeah, and the personal development of symbolism within, understanding, and really just learning how to connect through them.
Yes. So they allowing them in, right, to channel their energy kind of? Is that okay.
Yeah, and learning to differentiate between the vibrations of them. So is it angels, certain vibration? Is it a spirit who's passed that's on the other side? A spirit who's passed who's stuck here? The animals, everything. I'm very big into vibrations.
Oh.
So, right?
Oh, my vibration is
so cute. So Beach Boys music, right?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you can feel it or you see it?
I watch a movie. So most of the time it's third eye. And they'll show me things. I'll smell things. I'll taste things. I try to explain it like if you were coming to me for a reading. It's like trying to tell you what they're playing on a movie, what the plot is, what they're wearing, what they're eating, what they're doing, what we're doing, because then they'll have comments on that. So, yeah, it's very involved.
Oh, wow. So you really have to tap in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, okay.
But they've taught me quicker ways to do it. So when I read a group, I usually wear a medicine bag that protects my heart from the energy of the people I'm reading. I don't want to just sit and cry.
Yeah.
So I learned when I went to teach a class, I put my bag on and all the spirit of everybody in the class showed up. They understood that when I put that on, she's going to read us. We're here. So they were very mad when I was like, clear the waiting room. I'm teaching. You know, I'm not trying to reach those who have passed. That's that vibration level. Yeah. So now I wear a different necklace. And as soon as I put that on, I'm cued to the angels, ascended masters. If I wear another crystal, they know, oh, she wants past lives. So they just take me right there.
Wow.
So using tools as a key is a really direct way of getting to what the client is looking for or what they need.
Okay. So I have to ask, you have a crystal on today?
I wear my pearl like every day. And what's really funny with my pearl, it's all about nurturing, wisdom, and really seeing yourself as a pearl, no matter what life throws at you, right? Because we're all sand, being refined, coming out with our beauty. So I wanted a dog, and my dog Maggie, which almost everybody knows about, I got her, I did a reading for someone, told the guy he was going to have puppies. He's like, yeah, no way. I keep my dogs separate. And I said, right, yeah, like, no. Little mansplaining, which is fine. This is first reading. And to his credit, when I told him he was going to have puppies, I told him, don't pay me for the session. Just give me a puppy.
And he's probably like, this is the best deal ever.
Exactly. He was like, yeah, sure, okay. But he did follow me back. And that's how I got my dog. And they told me to call her Maggie. I had all these cool names, like Freya and, goddess names. Maggie means pearl.
Oh, and they knew it would be a girl puppy for you.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Aww. And then I messaged him, like, the puppies are being born. And he said yes.
So he's a believer now, clearly.
Yes. I think I got the best deal out of it, though, because I have Maggie. But yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pearl.
So that's my pearl. Yep.
All right. So my next question for you was about soul retrieval and what happens during these sessions, and what do you see after one of these is done? And if you can give me an example, because I've never heard of soul retrieval, and this seems so amazing.
This is my favorite energy practice to do. So anytime we have an experience, including birth, where we go through something traumatic, and we either tell ourselves, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm never going to go through that again. Your soul kind of steps out of your body. A little piece of it stays in your aura, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I picture it like that little quiddle dish from Harry Potter, however you say that, right? The little gold ball that falls around. Yeah. So it steps out because the only way to truly protect your soul essence is if it doesn't have to go through that experience. Some people call it like disassociating.
Yeah.
Too,
oh, yeah.
Right?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, where you like just sort of check out. So it causes us to not experience life the same way. We miss really feeling happy.
Yeah.
Or when people tell us to connect with our inner child, what inner child? I can't feel my inner child. I don't remember my childhood. So what I do is a lot. I do. I'm an over the top kind of person. Yeah, with spirituality. So I have candles set up because that represents things happening on the spiritual plane as I'm working on your physical self. So with shamanism, there are 3 planes. Okay. And subconscious, unconscious, or conscious. You can go psychology, almost any spiritual practice. There's usually 3 planes. So even Reiki, 3 planes.
So what plane are we on now? Or am I?
So no. So it's like we have our conscious, so we're on a conscious plane. Unconscious, right, and subconscious. So subconscious usually talks to us in our dreams. Yes. The unconscious is like, I feel something, but I just can't get to it.
Okay.
Right? That's the
Yes.
really deep stuff.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So we have those 3 planes of our mind.
Uh-huh.
You know, we have our physical, our emotional planes, our mental planes. We have the lower world, the middle world, the upper world.
Yes.
That comes into shamanism. Yeah, there's so much. So, right, we have 3 ways of doing things. And if you think of 3, like, what's that song? I'm hearing this right now, but like, knock 3 times.
If you
Something if you want me, right? I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to do that to anybody.
No.
Twice on the pipe if the answer is no. So 3 is a very common thing. And when I work with somebody, I want to make sure that I help them on every plane. So sometimes it's some past life stuff, because our soul is everything we've ever been.
Yes.
Everything we are,
Mm-hmm.
and everything we'll ever be.
Yes.
All built into this wonderful matrix of who we are. So I'll set up all my candles if it's kind of cord cutting, if that's what's needed for the person. I have salt, I have water, I have crystals that I specifically channel before the person gets there. Those are your touchstones that you'll take with you after. And then I explain everything like 3 times. So nobody has to like wonder, like, what is she doing? What's going to happen? Do I need to get up? My goal is to quiet your squirrel brain as much as possible.
Yes.
So then I take my drum and I'll just drum. The drum puts your brain into the theta wavelength.
Okay.
Same wavelength as when you're sleeping and dreaming. So it's like dreaming while you're awake.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can tap into the collective conscious. Like, it's so cool. All the animals, everything.
Yay.
Yeah.
I totally want to do that.
I love doing this. So then the goal is to bring back the healing story.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll show me the exact trauma of what somebody went through.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it's because, say, they weren't, well, actually, one person had struggles with weight loss.
Okay.
And so I worked on them, and I saw that when they were young, food was used as punishment. So they weren't fed if they didn't do something right, if it wasn't perfect, like it was no supper kind of a thing, to a really frustrating degree.
Yeah.
You know, not like, oh, no dessert because you didn't do your homework. It was kind of rough.
Yeah.
So I brought back to them control and reward around food.
Okay.
So you bring back the healing story.
And then did they lose the weight?
Yeah, they've been. One person actually texted me. They're pretty high level professional, and they said they now look at their life as before their soul retrieval and after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to summarize this, soul retrieval can kind of be like unnumbing yourself from the subconscious and whatever pre-programming you have in your mind, right?
Yes. Bringing back the healing parts of your life that you put to the side because either someone made you feel you didn't deserve it. You said, I can never have joy. I can't have innocence. All this stuff happened to me. And it's bringing back the healing parts of that. So then after I do a soul retrieval, I'm yours for like 2 to 3 weeks. If you have a question, you're feeling this.
Yeah.
When I had mine was simple stuff about childhood, but right is so important to us then.
Oh, yes.
I wanted nothing but peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for like 2 weeks.
Why?
Yeah. Because my child part was mixed back in. So once I put it back into you, 3 times into the heart, 3 times in the head, I rattle all over you, make sure you're all nice and integrated. And yeah, it just really helps you with what's my purpose, what's my direction. Yeah. I'm missing something and I don't know what. Maybe you're missing your wholeness. And I can really nerd out and explain all of this in like a biology, neuroplasticity.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
this is amazing. All right. So maybe for a lot of you who just set New Year's goals, right, and want to lose weight, maybe there's something deeper, right? And you can help them dig in.
Yeah. And maybe it's about self-love, or somebody just said you can never accomplish a goal. So maybe I bring back courage or it's strength. And then I write everything down. So usually 6 or 7 pages, for the session. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just depending on the person.
Wow. And is it instantaneous? Like, would I leave that day knowing, okay, my soul's been helped?
Yeah, most people feel kind of, they said they feel lighter, but out of it.
Yeah.
So I make sure people eat protein before they leave.
Yeah.
You know, like grounded in your body with all these new pieces. And then sometimes the soul parts require a contract on your part.
Oh.
Like the inner child's, I'm not coming back in unless he promises to play.
Oh, I love that.
And then like, oh, I'll see you really like to go swinging on a swing. You have to promise to do that in order for this integration to be there.
This is fascinating.
Yeah. And then it becomes easier to give yourself permission to do the things you want to do.
Okay. This is awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
I love it.
So my New Year's goal is to have a soul retrieval done.
Yeah.
And then I can tell you I got it.
Yeah. And I studied under Sandra Ingerman.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had another great teacher, Garrett Jackson. He taught me a lot about the walking in light. I love that so much. I use it all the time. So, yeah.
Very nice. One of my favorite books, actually, probably my favorite book is Many Lives, Many Masters by
Yes,
Dr.
great
Weiss.
book.
And about past lives and all of that, which kind of the soul can carry through all that,
Yes.
right? So, oh, fascinating.
And sometimes those little pieces try to take over.
Yeah.
So sometimes during a soul retrieval, I'll see what that life needed.
Ah. And then once you fix that, will it go away?
So I read for one person, saw her whole past life story. I actually saw a little man jump out of her heart, and then he was looking at her, and he only saw himself. And I'll just there were like 3 parts to it. I'll just mention one. But I saw that he had been a soldier, and it's like the general's like, yeah, you're in charge while I'm doing whatever. And he was just like a cook.
Oh.
And he tried to wake everyone up.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work. So I said, you have this crazy need to save things. And every time it rained, she had to go outside and save the worms on the road. She couldn't control it.
Wow.
Yeah, even to the point that she was like diagnosed with trench foot because I saw this guy's feet all curled.
Huh.
She was diagnosed with trench foot like today, you know. So that all went away once we worked on
her
reintegration.
Her feet uncurled.
Yeah, or didn't have like the trench foot kind of things with it.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
crazy.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna I could like spend 30 minutes.
I know, like I said, I could almost do a podcast in each one of your questions.
We might have to eliminate a couple. All right. So since everyone's in their new me kind of vibe, like how can they connect to their higher self? How can they like know how to have a great 2025? Like how can they tap in?
So ask yourself your question,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like what brings me joy?
Okay.
3 things that come to your mind, and then ask your heart, and your heart usually knows what it wants.
They'll be different.
Yes.
Oh.
Like, should I change my job?
Okay.
Right. A lot of times when we ask somebody a question, like, should I change my job? You already know the answer. You're looking for validation to follow your heart.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you have to disregard everybody else's belief systems, everybody else's judgment on you to really get to what does make me happy.
Okay. And then once they get the answer, they have to act on it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you get your heart answer.
Yes.
Then you got to take action.
Right.
Okay. Not let fear take over.
No.
Okay.
And that's like where your higher self come in. Your higher self knows the answers, but we also have our physical self. Like when somebody passes away, we know that they were passed, that they're in a much better place.
Yeah.
It's really good for them. They're no longer suffering. They have more work to do on the other side. But in ourselves, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
And we still have to process the human experience of things. And our higher self will still carry us through the human experience to connect us with the peace that the bigger picture gives us.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. So like it might be a little uncomfortable, but trust me, it's better on the other end, right?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay. There you go, guys. All right. So that was one of my questions. And then same thing, like, can anyone be like you and tap into spirit for guidance?
Yeah, everybody can tap into spirit for guidance.
So we give them a key
Sure.
takeaway, like, okay, so I have this thing. Maybe someone out there is listening and they're like, I want a divorce or I want to have another kid. How can they tap into spirit to get the answer?
I think it's tapping into yourself a bit for the answer. So I'm going to give this very quickly, but we have 7 chakras.
Yes.
All of our chakras interpret the vibrations of the world around us. So where do you feel things in your body as an answer to the question you're asking?
Oh. So if they feel it in their heart chakra, or is it in their throat chakra?
Yep. That's one of the biggest things I've done with spirit is, should I be afraid? Where do I feel fear in my body? Then I get into an experience and it's like, am I afraid or am I overthinking? And if my chakra vibrates, okay, yes, I really need to protect myself. But otherwise, no, stop overthinking.
And what if you're like, your chakra is like so excited and bubbly and like, this is awesome.
Yes.
Is that
like, yeah, go with it.
okay? Oh, okay. Well, cool. There you go, guys.
And I think everybody has access to spirit. You have to just learn your symbolism with spirit. You can't go on, I saw a blue bird, so this means that, yes, I'm supposed to do that.
Okay.
If that, maybe somebody hates a blue bird. You have to go with what works for you.
Okay.
Your communication with spirit. And you have to trust it. That's the hardest part, is just trusting it.
Okay.
So start little and go big.
Okay. That was literally me today.
Yeah.
On my walk, I was doing my mantras and like manifestation chants, and a cardinal flew by, and I was like, "What is a sign?" So,
yeah, and there's standard signs, but then there's also very personal signs.
All right.
So
you'll have to know what your sign is.
Yeah, and that's just something you work out with spirit. We all have different life experiences. We all think different about things. For example, I told one of my friends, like, oh, your aura is really yellow. You're so happy. And she started to turn blue. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I hate yellow. Oh, yeah. Yellow is my sign for happy.
Oh,
right. So that's another thing when you're going to intuitives, mediums, any person, you can't think like, oh, I saw a crow, so I'm going to die or whatever. It's the cards are talking to the person. Okay. So you have to listen to what their symbolic interpretation is of whatever tool they're using or whatever words they're getting, because that's their relationship with spirit to give you messages.
Okay. And then you can kind of tweak it to what applies to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Oh, I love this. We're getting a little Spirit 101 here today, guys. All right. So my next question was ways to live a happier life. Ways that the listeners can actually know that they're on the right path. And I have a feeling we're going to be like, just tap into those chakras again, right?
Well, it's one, if you are having a problem ever feeling joy, then perhaps you need a counselor, somebody to talk to, having a trusted person to share things with. And one thing I do is on my birthday every year, because that's my new year. I don't share New Year's. I'm a little selfish. Right? Really? All my resolutions are on my birthday. That's my new year. Okay. Plus, it gives me an extra few days.
Oh, wait. Is your birthday?
My birthday is like the 25th of January. So I'm like, hey, yeah, maybe I didn't meet my goal by January 1st, but I got a few more days. So every year, I don't necessarily write resolutions, but I write what really made me happy last year. And I write down all the things that brought me joy. Because when we're in a period of sadness or darkness or shadow self work, we can't think of what's happy. So I'll go to my book and I'll be like, okay, going for a walk will make me happy. Maybe it's the last thing I want to do, and then I do it. And okay, I do feel a little happier. Like, of course, I argue with my spirit guides. Yeah. I argue with myself. Like, fine. Right? And it does. Only you know what brings you joy.
Okay. So go back to those.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a color. What's your power color? What's your happy color? Okay. Wear your happy color.
All right. So that's a good way. All right. To tap into happiness. Yeah. All right. My next question was, what is shamanism? And you are my first shamanic practitioner I've ever talked to. So I, just like you guys, don't even understand fully. But what is it and how can it be used to bring happiness for your future life path?
Sure. So for me, shamanism is a way of talking to the spirit world in an altered state. So it's different among a lot of cultures. I don't call myself a shaman because I believe personally that that's a term that indigenous cultures can give to a person. And I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. So I just call myself a practitioner.
Okay.
I use the drum. You can also use rattles. The nice thing about the drum, yes, theta wavelength, all that, psychology kind of a thing. But really, the drum gives my squirrel brain something to do, my left brain something to listen to. So my right brain, the spirit brain, can really tap in.
Okay.
And then depending on the question, you have a question when you go in, then the animals, power animals, plants, spirit guides, teachers, natures, they'll give you the answer that you're looking for.
They'll give it to me, who isn't a shamanic practitioner, or they give it to you to relay to me?
So it is both.
Oh.
Everybody has the ability to see, to tune in. There was a group that I read, and I saw them with this barred owl. And they're like, no. And I saw it like being hit by a car, and they said, no, that's never happened. It's like, okay, I'm wrong. It's just, this is what I see. They left my house. 15 minutes later, they were back with a barred owl in their hands.
Wow.
Yeah, there was nothing we could do to help it. It was past, but they were like, you talked about it, and here it is. What do we do? And so I drummed, like, let's cross the soul of the owl over. They all saw similar things.
Oh.
So they all saw the owl either going into a big light, either the moon or the sun. Everything was very similar.
Wow.
So
it's almost like, what is it when they do the, they go into the jungle and they do that?
Yeah.
So, like whatever.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. Is it like that?
So you can use that to go into an altered state. You can just allow yourself to go into the altered state. It's really removing your ego or yourself from the information.
Oh.
So sometimes we get answers that we need that we don't want. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, it's a path forward. Like, what's my next step?
Okay.
And the key really with shamanism when you're doing it is it's not about the what, but if you ask then the animals or your teachers or your guides to show you, then the path opens up.
Oh.
Like, what am I supposed to do with my career? You might hear change jobs. Well, what does that look like? But if you say, show me, you might all of a sudden see advertisements for teachers everywhere.
Oh.
And it's like, okay.
So you can say, show me the right way, and then they'll give you a sense. Or do you have to be specific and show me a white feather if I'm supposed to take this job?
You can be that specific, but that can be a little harder then. Say, show me a feather, right? Because they still have things to work with. But yeah, and then it's being open to receiving the message, being observant enough to then look for the message.
Okay.
And and it'll come to you.
Oh,
yeah.
I love this. So
right, because if I told you, go bake a loaf of sourdough bread, you'd be like, what? But if you have somebody sitting there showing you how to do it, that's been my new thing is sourdough, and it's so complicated. But if somebody shows you, it's a lot easier.
Okay.
And the spirit guides want to help you. Your power animals, the plants, all your guides, they all want to help you.
Okay.
But you have to ask. You have to give them permission to do it.
Okay. So can we be very granular for the listener? Yeah. So do they say aloud, please show me the way?
Yes.
To know if I should take this job or not, for example?
Yes.
Oh.
Or maybe a lot of people want prosperity. Please show me ways to prosperity. Then you find a nickel on the ground. Thank you, angels. Thank you, universe, whatever it is that you believe in. Thank you for the message. Okay. And then, I'm not kidding, one day I found like a 20 and I was like, woohoo! Yeah, all this gratitude, right? Because it has to come from gratitude and from the healthy intention. But that's the beauty of nature and animals and plants. Everything is one. We create our reality. That's a big part of shamanism too, is the reality and the altered. And it's bringing the things that we get in that altered state to the conscious world.
It's amazing.
I love it. Oh, I could talk on it forever and totally nerd out.
Yeah, I love it. My car
I love it. Yeah, I love it. There's times that I'll argue with them. Yeah. They told me to pull over once. There was a tornado coming. And I was like, I don't want to pull over. I'm a mile from home. I just want to get home. And I hear, pull over now. And I pull over. And it's all blown over in 5 minutes. And I'm like, see, I could have been home. Like, of course I can get sassy to my guides. I still love them. And then I drive, and not even a tenth of a mile, all the power lines were tangled in trees.
Oh,
I would have either been in it or under it. So it's like, thanks.
So listen when you get
Yeah,
that.
you have to listen to messages.
Yeah.
Right? Thought is rational.
Okay.
2 + 2 = 4. We know that. We think it. I have a feeling I need to go do this. Why did I go choose to do this? Why did I choose to do that route? That's your guides talking through you.
Okay.
That's what intuition is.
Yes.
We only know what we have learned, what we can rationalize. The rest is from spirit.
Oh, and if you ignore it, does it like keep getting louder, or do they just give up?
You'll keep getting that lesson harder and harder until you pay attention.
Nice.
Like you might keep dating the wrong person and they become a worse and worse version of the previous person you dated. Until you recognize the shadow part of yourself that they're bringing forward to you.
Yes. She's very right. I had that lesson. Well,
oh, me too. That's personal experience.
That's actually a poem in my first book. It's called Teacher. It's kind of like it keeps knocking until you listen. Yeah.
But they can still only help you to the point that you've given permission. Okay. So I kind of have my golden rules with spirit. I never want to do any harm. I only want to bring messages forward that help. I don't want to interfere with the butterfly effect. I don't want to change something for somebody that they really needed as part of their lesson.
Yes.
And then I just tell my angels, and my power animals every day, you have my permission to help me. Because we have free will. So they can't interfere with us unless we give permission for help.
This is so fascinating.
Okay.
I clearly needed to book you for longer.
Right? Well, no, that's okay. I'm like, I can talk on this stuff forever. Both on the science level and on the spiritual levels.
Oh, this is so perfect though, for everyone's New Year's resolutions. Really, you can have help out there. You don't have to figure it out on your own.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
Even when you feel the most alone, your spirits, your angels, most people have a lot of people with them.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't want to take anybody out. You have 100 dead people following you all the time. Right?
Sure. All right. So my last question for you was, can you speak on house blessings and clearing? And maybe give me a story of how you cleared some energy, because I just find that fascinating.
So every place has a story. Every place that we live, there can be land spirits who are there to help with protecting that place. Just like when you walk into a room after 2 people have been arguing, and then they're pretending to be all nicey to each other, and you're like, I want to get out of here. Yeah. That's the same feeling of energy that needs to be cleared out. Okay. The really high level, the poltergeisty type stuff, things are moving, doors are slamming, and people are like, oh, that's so cool. Would you let a stranger off the street just mess with your cupboards and stuff? No, that's being misbehaved. Yes. So they might be trying to get you a message or a conversation. So there's that level. Then there's also times where it just needs a little healing. Okay. So I'll speak to my own. I moved into a house and I noticed for the first 3 or 4 months, a bird would not land in the yard. Yeah, weird, right? And then I saw stuff and things started to show itself to me, and it's on a battlefield. So I'm over towards Fort Edward. Oh, yes. And so I'm like, okay, what do I do? Show me. Tobacco, rose is healing. The earth is upset. The earth actually created a vibration based on what had happened there. So I put those herbs in my lawn spreader, and I did my entire yard with tobacco and rose petals. I know this is crazy, right? But then the birds came back, and it was a change. It was an evolution over time. Okay. So there's kind of clearing that energy, blessing a place. I really feel that our house is part of us. Yes. It's our energy. It's our safe place. It should be. All of those things. So when you build a connection with your house, you can actually then feel, ooh, something's wrong at home. Okay. Oh, maybe my house needs something. Or, if there's a storm, I'm not home. Nah, house feels good. Oh, yeah. Okay. And did you ever have a poltergeist experience? Oh, yeah. There was one person that sent me video, because I can clear anywhere. I can do it remotely. Doors were slamming, chairs were moving across the floor. I even had that myself when my gifts reawoke. There's a place in Glens Falls that I was renting. And the bathroom the cover for the fan light fell, went across the hallway and hit me in my bedroom. So I got up on the ladder and dropped that about 100 times. Like, how can I make this go that way? And I couldn't. And then I was like, okay, this is just me. I'm overthinking. And then I watched my bike helmet hanging on my bike make a perfect circle clockwise, counterclockwise, and then go into a square. And then I'm like, that's it. I go to the church parking lot. It's like, I don't know what to do, right? So there's all different levels. Sometimes it's just fingerprints of energy. That's what most people have. Like, I had a bad day. I was grumpy. I threw things around. So you're just sort of dusting that energy out.
And it's from like a spirit. Just see
Or even from yourself.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
If you come home really grumpy and your house is like, don't bring that energy in here, right? Or it's in the walls or it's wherever, or maybe the house wasn't taken care of and things start to go wrong. You're trying to fix it and it's breaking. Well, the house hasn't known love.
So bring love in.
So yeah, as you bring love in, it might react a little bit, and then you can change the story to be one of healing.
And if someone's listening at home, is it worth getting the sage in the Palo Santo, or?
You have to do whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Okay.
It's best to actually journey, do the drumming, ask the power animals, ask your spirit guides, what should I use? I used sage once it was an outdoor thing. And one of the Native American spirits came forward and said, right idea, wrong thing. You're actually making us mad. It's not from here. It's from the Southwest. It only grows like zones 11 to 9.
Okay.
Which is USDA zones. I do gardening and all that stuff. So if you use things that are here natural, like cedar, lavender, rose, whatever, but it has to be what speaks to you. If you hate the smell, then it's not going to do any good.
Okay.
Or maybe your culture likes to use rosemary and water to bless. So what's your culture? What does your soul feel? What does the house or the place want?
Okay.
And tuning into that gives you better results.
Okay. So my friend, she tried to sage her house and the sage wouldn't light, and she tried like 5 times. So maybe her spirit guides just didn't want her to use sage.
I'm actually hearing her sage was just wet. Like it was damp. Our house has a lot of humidity, or maybe it was in the summertime. It could have just absorbed a bit. There are times where I've gone to clear a house with sage, right? Because it also matters what would you think? Like if I show up with berries and rosemary, you'll be like, what is she doing? Right? So I have found that spirits can really manipulate electronic things, just like TVs, people get feedback. So sometimes trying to use a lighter, it won't light. It's like, I have matches. They can't interfere with the matches as much as they can with the lighter because it's mechanical, right? So it's like, not today. I'm going to get this. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of work, or maybe it wasn't lighting because her spirit guides were trying to say, do I need something different? So that's just when you ask questions, like, oh, my sage isn't working. Is it the sage? Where do you feel yes or no in your body? Okay. And then do I need something different? Yes or no? And then show me.
Okay.
But intention, above all, when it comes down to the basics of it, intention leads the way. Where is your heart?
Okay. So if she had said, it's my intention to clear the negative juju out of my house right now. Okay.
Then even if she took that sage and it wouldn't light and went through the motions of it, she would have made a difference.
Let's see this. All right. This is great. Yay.
They help us. We all have a learning place. We all have a starting place. They want us to succeed. They are like your best friend.
Okay.
They want to help you.
So lean in.
Yeah. Life doesn't have to be this hard. And some people have said, well, I don't feel right asking them for help. How do you feel if you watch one of your friends suffer?
Yes.
And they don't ask you for help? It hurts. You want to help. Most people want to help. So do your angels. So allow the help.
Ask and it is given, right?
And
That's one of my favorite parts. Oh, perfect. All right. So lastly, if you could just tell everyone how to find you. Do you have any classes coming up? Any readings, intuitive readings?
So I do teach classes. I like to teach classes in protection, how to live with symbolism. I live, eat, breathe symbolism. Even if I'm in a meeting and I'm turning my glass counterclockwise, I'm trying to bring the energy of the room down a little bit because people are fighting. Or if I can't get people going, I'll turn it in a clockwise direction. Like, let's lift the mood a little bit, right? Or what do our food symbolize? I go into all of that.
Wow.
So I teach some of that. But you can always check my website, beandbriar.com.
Okay.
And I'm also a beekeeper, so I have lots of honey and, all my nature stuff. Yeah, I do. So I do have a couple of events that I'll be posting, just working to finalize some bigger gallery readings for February. And then I also have a newsletter that people can subscribe to.
Oh, very nice. And it's BEEBRIAR, right?
Yeah, BEE, like the bumblebee, like the honeybee, and BRIAR.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So go to that, and then they can subscribe to your newsletter, and then
see all my classes, schedule readings.
Yeah. All right. And those classes that you were talking about, are they in person or is online?
I do both.
Okay. So you do teach ones. So if people want to be in your awesome angelic energy and like see you, like me today, they can.
They can, yes. Okay. And I do my readings, my mediumship readings, at my home. I have a whole space dedicated for it. You can either have it with Maggie's help or without her help. But I also bring that Celtic vibe forward where I'll serve you tea. It's up to you if you want to have it. Like, that's the Celtic thing is when you ask people, would you like some? Most people say no because they don't want to put you out. The hot water's ready. It's up to you to put a tea bag in it. And then I have cookies that I bring in from Scotland, the shortbread cookies, because I feel that that's very ancestral. A little food, a little something can allow us to open up to receive messages from angels, from loved ones, whatever somebody's looking for.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And are you on Instagram and Facebook?
I am. I'm on Instagram. I have a vibration group on Facebook where I'll post things.
And TikTok, are you on there?
I am, but not very good. It's mostly my bees so far.
Oh.
So do you want to see the inner workings of a beehive?
You wear the whole thing?
Yeah, I do. Some days I don't, but in the fall I'll wear my whole outfit. And I've also, worked with people like as a healing session who just want to sit around the vibration of bees. Because I have a really crabby corner of my land that you try to put a tractor over there, it breaks, all the stuff happens. I'm like, I'm going to lift your vibration. So I got bees.
And did it?
Yeah.
How many acres do you live on?
I have about 3.
I'm trying to visualize this. You're walking around in your bee.
Yeah. About 3 acres, and I do my gardens and my, my herbalism part. Most people come to me for mediumship readings or soul retrievals, which I love doing soul retrievals.
This is so cool. It's like a spiritual hallmark. Maybe I'm
Right?
sitting in my mind.
Well, and because nobody needs to feel the lack, right? So that's what a soul retrieval does, is it gives you back.
Oh, all right. I'm booking one of these. Okay. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Thanks.
All right. So one more time. BEEANTBRIAR.com.
Yes.
All right. And it's Melissa, right?
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. And thanks everyone for listening.
And watching. Yes. And remember, happiness is choice. So choose a happy day. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. To stay connected to me, please visit my website at chooseahappyday.com. And at the bottom, just sign up for my email list to be notified of any upcoming events, book launches, as well as new podcasts. Until next time, have a happy day.